Hi, welcome to another Level 2 algebra video. Hopefully you've got most of the positive power rules sorted. Now we're going to start and introduce talking about negative powers. Right, so here are our index rules for negative powers. When we have x to the power of negative 1, well, x to the power of negative 1 is actually 1 times x to the power of negative 1. And we're going to rewrite this in a fraction. And it's going to be the 1's going to stay on the top of the fraction, and the x to the power of negative 1 is going to move to the bottom of the fraction and become an x to the power of positive 1. Now we don't need to write x to the power of positive 1, so we just need to write 1 over x. If we have x to the power of another negative number, any other number apart from 1, x to the power of negative n, well, we know that's written as 1 times x to the power of negative n, and we're going to write it as a fraction. So the 1 will stay on the top, and the x to the power of negative n will come to the bottom and become x to the power of positive n. If we have a number out the front, number a times x to the power of negative n, well, that's a times x to the power of negative n. So like before, the a is going to stay on the top of the fraction. The number a is going to stay there, and the x to the power of negative n is going to the bottom of the fraction and going to become x to the power of n. Right, let's try and explain these rules with some examples. So here's example 1. Let's write the following with the positive power, x to the power of negative 1. Well, x to the power of negative 1 is 1 times x to the power of negative 1. And we're going to write it as a fraction. The 1's going to stay on the top, and the x to the power of negative 1 is going to the bottom to become x to the power of 1. And we don't need to write x to the power of 1, so we just write it as 1 over x. So please try and remember x to the power of negative 1 is the same as 1 over x. Right, here's example 2. Write the following with the positive power. X to the power of negative 7. Well, x to the power of negative 7 is 1 times x to the power of negative 7. And we're going to write this as a fraction. The 1 will stay on the top of the fraction, and the x to the negative 7 will go to the bottom of the fraction and become x to the power of positive 7. So it's just 1 divided by x to the power of 7. Let's try example 3. Similar to example 2, write the following with the positive power, x to the power of negative 4. Well, again, x to the power of negative 4 can be written as 1 times x to the power of negative 4. And we're going to write this as a fraction. The 1 stays on the top, and the x to the negative 4 goes to the bottom and becomes x to the power of positive 4. So it's 1 divided by x to the power of 4. All right, what about this example? Write the following with a positive power. Now we've got 5 times x to the power of negative 3. Well, we've got an a out the front. This is the scenario where we have a times x to the power of negative n. So we're going to write this as 5. The 5 stays on the top of the fraction, and the x to the power of negative 3 goes to the bottom and becomes x to the power of positive 3, or x cubed. So we're left with 5 divided by x cubed. Right, well, here's our final example for this video. How we're going to write this following with a positive power. We have 4 times a squared times b to the power of negative 3. Well, notice we have 4a squared. The a squared is already positive. It's only the b to the power of negative 3. That's the negative power. So when we write this as a fraction, the 4 and the a squared will stay on the top of the fraction, and it's only the b to the negative 3 that's going to the bottom of the fraction that becomes b positive 3, b cubed. So we're left with 4a squared divided by b cubed. All right, that's our first video on negative powers. So thanks very much for watching.